Hey everybody, Matt here with Halloween Daily News, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about that Marvel Halloween special that we've been reporting on for a few months now. Some new details have emerged that are starting to bring the project a little more into focus, and if what we think Disney has planned is in fact what they have planned moving forward, it's some very exciting developments to say the least. So first, a quick recap. It was back in August of 2021 when the Wrap first reported that Marvel Studios was developing a werewolf-centric Halloween special for Disney Plus. It was later reported that Gael Garcia Bernal, the voice of Coco, had been cast in the lead role, heavily suspected to be based on one of two iterations of the Werewolf by Night comic book character. The original Werewolf by Night character was named Jack Russell, and a more recent version of the character is named Jake Gomez. It's unknown if Bernal is in fact playing one of these two characters, or he may be playing an entirely new version of the Werewolf by Night character created for the MCU specifically. I mean, the Werewolf by Night character, his superpower, for lack of a better term, is being a werewolf. So it may be that Marvel wants to introduce a new werewolf character into the MCU. Next, we learned that Laura Donnelly had been cast as the female lead in the Marvel Halloween special, and it was immediately heavily suspected that she may be playing a character named Nina Price, who is Jack Russell's niece and eventually becomes Vampire by Night in the comic books. And most recently, it was reported that Michael Giacchino, the composer for the soundtracks to a ton of blockbuster movies that you've seen, including most recently The Batman and Spider-Man No Way Home, he will direct this Halloween special. And that's what we've been referring to it as from the beginning. In all the reports that we've cited, everyone has called this project a Halloween special. And I've speculated before, I've asked the question, what exactly is a Halloween special? Does that mean that it's going to be a feature film that will not go to theaters, but instead just to Disney Plus? Is that what makes it a Halloween special? Is it going to be a limited series similar to some of these other series from Marvel Studios that have gone straight to Disney Plus? Well, now we have just a little bit of clarification on exactly what a Halloween special in the MCU is, thanks to some new details within an article from The Hollywood Reporter on Giacchino directing. In this article from The Hollywood Reporter, it is stated that the Halloween special will be a 1-hour event, not a feature-length film or a limited series, as all of Marvel's previous MCU releases have been so far. THR also clarifies that even though everybody is pretty much referring to this project as Werewolf by Night, that will not in fact be the title when it eventually premieres on Disney Plus. Now, the fact that this will not be titled specifically Werewolf by Night leads me to believe that Marvel wants to keep their options open moving forward, and it really sounds like with the 1-hour runtime that this is going to be an MCU version of kind of the comic book iteration of Halloween specials, because that's what I first thought when we heard the term Halloween special. Comic book readers are familiar with DC and Marvel regularly releases Halloween special issues, and these are just kind of one-shot special issues, sometimes set on and around the holiday, other times just involving horror-themed stories that lend themselves to Halloween very easily. It sounds like that's exactly what Marvel Studios has planned here. This will be a 1-hour story, a one-off, basically one episode. Not a full feature-length film, but not exactly a limited series either. And all of this suggests something that I have hoped for since this project first came to our attention, and that is that maybe Marvel Studios gives us a new Halloween special on Disney Plus every October. Each year featuring a few new characters from the darker side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there are a ton of these monstrous characters, these creatures of the night throughout the comic books, not just Werewolf by Night and Vampire by Night. I mean, obviously these two characters will introduce the fact that there are werewolves and vampires within the MCU now. So that's going to open a ton of possibilities. And there's lots of other characters that could easily be featured in these Halloween specials year after year. Characters you know, like Ghost Rider and like Blade. That's right, the half human, half vampire, daywalker, vampire slayer Blade. Previously played by Wesley Snipes in 3 films, Marvel Studios has already announced that they are making a new Blade movie. It's going to star Mahershala Ali, and it is very possible that Blade could show up in this Halloween special. Now, if you saw Eternals last year, Ali technically made his debut in a voice cameo as Blade in that film, but a recent report from the Cosmic Circus claims to have insider information from multiple sources that Marvel's Blade will appear in the currently untitled Halloween special. Of course, there's numerous possibilities and reasons that could bring Blade into this storyline. Maybe it is the Vampire by Night character that brings them together. Maybe he's even putting together some kind of super monster team here. I think the fact that the project is not going to be called Werewolf by Night signals that Marvel wants to have more of an all-encompassing title, something maybe like Midnight Suns. That's the title of a group not unlike the Avengers, but made up of characters like Werewolf by Night and Ghost Rider, some of these darker, monstrous characters that I'm talking about, these creatures of the night. And that could be a title that could be used year after year to bring more of these characters into the MCU. Maybe that's not it. Maybe it's something even more generic, like just Creatures of the Night or something like that, Marvel's Night Creatures. But whatever it's going to be, it does sound like they're going to be able to revisit it year after year in an anthology style presentation, very similar to the comic book Halloween specials. Something else fun to note, Blade's big bad guy, his arch enemy in the comic books, happens to be Count Dracula. Jack Russell's Werewolf by Night has also faced off against Dracula in the comic books. Now, I'm not saying we're anywhere near Dracula being introduced into the MCU, but if it was ever going to happen, I think it kind of makes sense that it might happen after a build-up in a few of these Halloween specials with a few of these darker characters that we're talking about. Maybe they all team up in a Midnight Suns type event to take on the legendary Count Dracula. Just another possibility that opens up with Blade and other vampires and werewolves now officially a part of the MCU. All of this sounds great, and it all ties in with the next Marvel Studios series to premiere on Disney Plus, which is Moon Knight. That series premieres this month, March 30th, and it's very interesting to note that the Moon Knight character played on Disney Plus by Oscar Isaac, this character actually made his debut within the pages of the Werewolf by Night comic book, issue number 32, actually. So it would make sense and would be a very cool kind of full circle moment if the Werewolf by Night live action character makes his first appearance within the Moon Knight series on Disney Plus. It's also interesting to note that the Moon Knight series is the first series on Disney Plus not focusing on already established characters. I mean, we've had WandaVision, we've had Hawkeye, we've had Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I think I'm forgetting we had Loki. So there's been quite a few, but all of those previous shows focused on characters that we've already met within the films. This is the first one focusing on a new character featured in live action for the first time. So I think it really is going to be our entry point into this sort of Marvel underworld, if you will. These dark Midnight Suns characters. So first up, all eyes will be on Moon Knight. Will Blade show up within that show? Will Werewolf by Night be teased in that show? I got a feeling that it's very likely that one or both of these may show up in the Moon Knight series. In any case, it's going to be very cool to see this dark side of Marvel in live action for the first time. And that is definitely kicking off with the Moon Knight series. The Moon Knight character is going to always be tied in some way to the Werewolf by Night character because That's the comic book where he first debuted. So again, it makes all the sense in the world to bring these two together in live action in some form. The Hollywood Reporter article also confirms that filming begins this month in Atlanta, Georgia, and that makes perfect sense. The previous articles we saw on the wrap also stated that filming would begin in March, and Atlanta, that's pretty much Marvel's home base right now. That's where they film almost all of their projects. So the fact that they're filming and now knowing the runtime is only going to be about an hour, I think it is very likely that we're going to see this project premiere this October on Disney Plus. Now, there is one other thing that I have to address here. There is the possibility that even though this has been widely referred to as a Halloween special, it is fully expected to premiere on Disney Plus during Halloween season. It's of course entirely possible that it's not set on or around October 31st. It may just be that they're going to premiere it around the season, and the storyline with monsters, werewolves, vampires, and so forth lends itself more to the Halloween season than any other time of year. But I do have some faith that it is actually going to be set on and around the most wonderful time of year. And the reason for that is that Marvel has been dipping in to the holiday spirit, most notably on Disney Plus with WandaVision. They had a Halloween set episode that was followed last year by the Hawkeye series, which took place entirely during the Christmas holiday season. And then coming this December, James Gunn's The Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special will premiere on Disney Plus. So all of that gives me hope that Disney will in fact set this Halloween special on and around Halloween itself. In any case, we'll continue following this as it develops. I can't wait to learn more, and I can't wait to see this Halloween special when it premieres on Disney Plus. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you looking forward to this? Are you a fan of the Werewolf by Night character? Have you read any of these comic books? I'd love to hear from you down below. Give me your thoughts on if Blade is going to show up in Moon Knight or in Werewolf by Night, if Werewolf by Night or Vampire by Night are going to make their live action debuts in the Moon Knight series. I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already so you don't miss any of our ongoing coverage of this project and lots more coming here to the HDN YouTube channel. Until then, I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you for watching.